Good morning, friends. Oh, there. Good morning, friends. I was a little premature in my hello, but I will do it again because I don't want you to miss it. Good morning. My name is QuianaDenae. I reside in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I am getting the joy and the pleasure and the delight of starting the VUU this morning. We are this amazing UU webcast, web podcast, web show that combines like language, laughter, love, all of the words that start with L, lemons and limes. And we put them together and we make this marvelous cocktail called Us. And we are just excited to be here. I will tell you a little bit about the weather here. It's overcast, but it's 60, which is like, I don't know how to take that. It's like you're warm, but you don't want me to feel the warmth of the sun. So me and the sky are having conversations. Hopefully when I take my walk later, it will just burst open and it'll be 60 and sunny. But there is no precipitation, so I will accept this weather without much complaint. I'm going to pass the mic to my friend Chris.
Hey y'all, I'm Christina Rivera. I'm coming to you from Augusta County, Virginia, where it is just kind of outside, kind of dreary, kind of drab. And I looked over at my phone to see what the actual temperature was outside, because I haven't been out there since earlier this morning. And my phone said 81. And I was like, I really don't think that's possible. I don't think that's right. And then I looked and it had set to the last place I looked at, which was Puerto Rico. And I am going to be broadcasting from Puerto Rico for the next 2 weeks, working from there. So that's why it was telling me it's 81 where I'm going. So yeah, it's about 60 outside right here, right now, and just looking really, yeah.
I'm having a moment and it's important. Aisha just came on the screen, y'all, and I just tweaked out. I just freaked out. I was like I screamed, I was like Beyonce just came in the room. And I just want to be clear how much joy, Chris, you're going to Puerto Rico, jealous, whatever, move that over.
Aisha to go to Puerto Rico as well. So
I'm free and available. You just got to tell me a time, date, and place. Like, look, I will, but Aisha, let's come back to the princess.
Let's come back to the beauty that is Aisha.
Wait, I saw you and just my whole world just shifted a little bit. I don't even know why I'm so excited to see you.
I can't tell you how much joy you bring me, all of you. And QuianaDenae, everyone in their life should get that greeting at some point, because I'm filled with love and joy right now. Thank you, QuianaDenae.
There was somebody on Facebook who was just talking about that recently. Like, you need to have a crew that is delighted by you. Just delighted by you. Just delighted to be in your presence, delighted to be around you. That is like something that is so necessary. And I think it was particularly speaking to women of color, like, just get you some folks that are just excited to see your face. Like, how important is that? It's very important.
I adore you all. And QuianaDenae, and Dawn, I feel bad about your arm. I'm glad to see you. Michael, we got COVID. There's a lot happening, and I slid in. So apologies for being late.
So Chris was introducing themselves and talking about the wonderful weather they're about to experience. We should go back to introductions. Let's go back to Don is still on this. Oh, Don disappeared. Don.
I'm here.
Or Michael, who do you want to check in? Sorry, I have issues.
Okay, it looks like Tanner has spotlighted me. So it is 60-ish and cloudy, rainy, sort of just generally damp outside here in Egg Harbor City. Not pouring rain like it was yesterday, which made it particularly unwise to climb a ladder while trying to hang a flag. And so then physics happened, and then I went to the emergency room, and I have a irregular, non-displaced fracture of the ulnar down here by my wrist. And other than that, and it's really, I did the Dr. Google thing this morning and was like, okay, so it apparently is not actually that terrible of a break. So I'm feeling good about that. I haven't had to take any of the really scary drugs, which makes me happy. And, if you're going to do something ridiculously dangerous and ill-advised, you should totally live stream it for your friends on Facebook. So when
I was witness real time to Dawn's friends. I wasn't watching the live stream, but for some reason, your friends and my friends on Facebook, the algorithm just like kind of came together, and like 2 or 3 people popping up of our friends posting to your timeline saying, "Are you okay? What happened? You were on the ladder and then the video cut out." Like all of this, I'm like, oh, this can't be good. This
Yeah, no, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
And the remarkable thing is that all the cursing happened before I fell. The cursing happened at the flag, which I was trying to lift over my head and it was too heavy. That was where the cursing, like when I fell and smashed my head against the metal side rail of the trailer, there was no cursing. Like other people screamed. But yeah, I've got this really cool like little scar right here. Kind of looks like I got in a bar fight. Yeah, and I landed on the rail of the trailer. I had one of those little flatbed trailers, and that's what the ladder was on. And I landed with my chest on my arm on the rail. And so I feel like I've been punched in the sternum. And I've got really a relatively minor break. So all things considered, it was okay. Like of all the injuries to come out of that with, I think I did okay. For the level of stupid involved, yeah, I really did well.
Let's say that other hand, that left hand sustained some damage as well. Yeah. Look at all that goodness.
So some of you know the story of the rainbow flag at my congregation, and that is that it has been destroyed, vandalized, stolen, ripped, cut up, broken, all kinds of stuff over the past few years. And we watched the video from the security camera and saw where people were climbing up. And so I went to Home Depot the other day and I went to the carpet department and I explained to the guy working there what I wanted. And I said, they're pest control strips. He's like, uh-huh. They're the little nail strips that go along the edge of your indoor carpet, right? When you install carpet, you nail them down, but they'll have all these little nails sticking up. So I had mounted those on the sign, the wooden part of the sign. So when I started to fall, I grabbed, and so we have proof that they work. But yeah, I maybe should have put that up after I put the flag up.
Don, we are so blessed that you were not more injured. We are so blessed that you were with us. And know that if at any point today you need to step back or step out or take care of yourself, please do that. Please do that. You are worthy of rest and you are worthy of healing.
Thank you. And I am doing those things. I have been really blessed with the outpouring of support. My Facebook, like Chris said, my Facebook page just blew up yesterday. I've received well wishes and all the woo from people who's like, they show up on my friends list, but honestly, I have no idea who some of them are. But okay, thank you. Like people I haven't heard from since high school are like, you okay? Yeah, it's a little nuts. So I'm really blessed. And I'm not minimizing the hurt and the pain. I'm looking at it through the lens of I'm 55 years old. That could have been worse. That could have been a lot worse. And I'm 55 years old and doing something ridiculously stupid in the rain. So yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
So I want you to hold that a little bit. Let's let Michael check in and Tanner, yes. Michael and Tanner. And then we'll get into our topic, which covers some of what you were just talking about. Tanner, did you want to come from the Great Hall and speak up, or did you want to stay behind the chalice today?
Sure. Hi, I'm Tanner Linden. I do communications for the Church of Ledger Fellowship, and I run tech for the VUU. I will be taking your comments from YouTube and putting them in Zoom for our wonderful hosts. So please comment any questions, comments, anything you've got. And I will pass it over to QuianaDenae. I think Michael stepped away for just a moment.
Well, I can say hello, QuianaDenae.
Oh, yes, Aisha. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Aisha Hauser, and I'm in Seattle, Washington, where it's rainy, which is fine because that's what it does a lot here. We need water, so I don't complain about rain anymore. But I do like it when it's sunny and it's spring. And now that the times change, it's starting to get light out later, which is cool. In the summer here in the Northwest, it's light till like 10 o'clock at night, which is, yeah, it feels that way. It's light very, very long. I don't know how I feel about it. It's fine. It doesn't matter how I feel about it. It's going to happen. So that's how I am. And it doesn't really matter what my commentary on nature is. It's going to happen is the thing. So I'm doing all right. I did get my first dose, knocked me out last week. I was fatigued. Oof. Headache for 3 days. It was, and I'm grateful. Yay for shots.
Michael stepped away, but they're a part of some of the commentary that we hope to have today, which is Michael and, I'll let Michael speak for themselves. What I will say is that we wanted to talk about how caregivers care for themselves. How do we take care of ourselves? My good friend Don was trying to take care of the church and hurt themselves. And like, how does Don get recovery? How do we create space for that? I am going to admit publicly, because I'm so private in my life, I am coming off a depressive spell. If you have never done depression dishes or laundry, if you have done them, you know exactly that there's a difference between doing dishes and doing depression dishes, depending on where you have to dig them out from. If you've never had to do a month's worth of laundry in 2 days because you are at your last pair of one sock and maybe underwear that you shouldn't be in as it is, then depression is real. And the result of that is real. So I just want to talk about how do we as caregivers fill our cups up. And I'm not talking about self-care. I'm talking about beyond the bubble bath, right? How do we take care of ourselves and keep our cup full so that we can take care of others? Before any of us speak, I want to give Michael the floor to just check in and give us a little pulse check there.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry that I was gone for a few moments. It is a gray, cloudy, not still rainy day in New York, and it's like 60 something degrees outside, going up to 71. And I don't care because I can't go outside my house because everybody in my family is quarantined because my daughter brought a case of COVID home from school. So we're quarantined. She's fine. We're fine. Both my husband and I have received our first doses of vaccine, which for me means that I tested negative yesterday despite breathing my child's very close air for a week. My kid is a snuggler. It's all good. I love her, and I'm not going to not snuggle my child just because she might have COVID, which is a good thing I had that vaccine. So there we go. So thanks be to Pfizer first dose. I seem to still be negative, but we're in quarantine here for 2 weeks. We can't leave the house. And I'm hoping that my husband's case does not get worse. It seems to be mild, again, thanks to his first dose of vaccine. And it sucks. And I'm nervous and worried and sad and scared and angry, like so very angry. This was like 2 weeks into her going back to school 4 days a week, and we don't see anyone outside our house other than her going to school, so there's not a possibility of it coming from somewhere else. And I'm also profoundly profoundly grateful for the ability to have had the first dose of the vaccine, because as someone who is immune compromised, this could be very dangerous for me. And it's weird that the person with the autoimmune disorder actually had enough antibodies to stay negative. Weird. But let's knock on wood. I hope it stays that way. And I wanted to say, we were talking about being glad to see people and the joy with which QuianaDenae greeted Aisha, which is an infectious joy and shared among all of us, I think. But I want to say I am also glad to see all of you, and glad to be here, and glad to see names pop up in the chat, Darby and Stitch, and those of you who are watching. It's good to know that there's a community out there that is glad to see these weird mugs on your screen every week. And I know that while I disappeared, Dawn was telling about their encounter with physics. Did we ever get a picture of the flag that Dawn was hanging when they encountered physics?
It didn't get hung. It didn't get hung.
Well, but there's a picture of you like getting it up there. And I just want these people to know that you made a metal rainbow flag that is the most amazing work of art.
Give me a second and I'll get that picture. And if somebody can let me share the screen, I'll get you there.
I want our beloved to see, those of you who are seeing this visually on YouTube or whatever, to see what you were trying to hang up, because you say I'm hanging a flag. This was not some piece of fabric, my loves.
No, it weighed like 75 pounds apparently.
This was a handmade 75-pound metal rainbow flag with how many individually welded loops
470 something? Yeah.
Because the flag has been taken down just one too many times. So
yeah.
I wanted to honor your art.
All right. It says I cannot start screen share while other participant is sharing.
Well, Tanner Linden is sharing a picture of your flag. So we got a picture up there for people to see.
Was it the one of me on the ladder?
Yes.
Yeah, it was from Facebook.
All right. Great. Because that was the one I was going to share. Excellent. Okay.
Tanner's amazing.
Fabulous. Yeah.
So I just
that
know
thing weighed a freaking ton.
That your encounter with physics.
You can see the little nail strips. You see it?
That's what I was looking for this time, because I didn't know about the little nail strips the last time. But from your description, I was looking for them and I saw them.
Yeah, they work. They work. They do exactly what they were supposed to do, which is cause grief.
And that, yes, I just wanted people out there to know that your encounter with physics was in the service of both art and justice. So.
And next time you'll have people help you hang it. There'll be some support.
Well, there were people who were there to help. And honestly, I had the best group of people. I had the person who was my former DRE, who is just rock solid, sweet person. I had my board vice president, and I had one of our rock star volunteers. We're all there. And, if ever you want to fall off a ladder and hit your face on something, those are the three you want to have with you. Like there was nobody running around like a chicken with their head cut off. There was these were just three women who were just solid, and we're just like, okay, we need something for blood, and we need to, all right, who's going to take Dawn to the hospital? And they got it all figured out.
If you got to be hurt, being surrounded by religious educators is really the way to go. I just have to say, my friend Chris Johns would highly co-sign that. They had a medical event at a religious education conference, and they said, these are the people that you want in an emergency, because they can get it taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they were just awesome. And I got an idea of how heavy the flag was, because when they brought it back to the church building, it took 2 of them to carry it inside.
Mm.
Well, it's not just heavy, but it's awkward. You know, it's 3x5 and it's kind of floppy, and yeah. So, but anyway, yeah.
I appreciate your art, and I think the piece that Michael said, where you're blending justice and art is a beautiful intersection. Can you talk a little bit about how art saves you? How the art that you do?
Oh, the art that I do all different kinds of things with art. I can't, like, my metalworking is going to take a pause for a little bit while my arm, because this is my hammer arm. This is the arm that I use to hammer metal. But art stimulates a particular side of my brain that, you know, the administrative day-to-day check boxes, do tasks, fill lists sort of part of my brain doesn't get, you know? And so art, sometimes if I'm working on a particular troublesome sermon or a particular task that's really complicated, I will do art so that it keeps one side of my brain busy, so the other side can get done what it needs to do, if that makes sense. I once tiled a bathroom to write a paper in seminary. And I heard a story, I don't know if it's true, but it's a good story, so it's worth it, that Winston Churchill used to have a pile of bricks in the backyard at number 10 Downing. And whenever he had trouble working something out, he would go out and he would mix up some mortar and he would lay a brick wall to help. It's the physical repetitive stuff, the tactile stuff that allowed his brain to do what it needed to do. And then he'd go inside and write whatever speech or thing or whatever it was. And he'd have the workers, he'd like, okay, take it down and clean the bricks and stack them back up. So it allows me to focus in a way that isn't stressful focus. You know, and I don't always worry about the quality necessarily of the product so much as the process. It is the process that and I used to hate when people said that. It's the process, not the product. You know, the art is the journey, not the end. But it is God, it's awful, but it's true. You know, it's like that. It's like a rocking chair for that side of my brain.
Oh, that's a good visual, Don.
Yeah. So
I'm a walker. Like, I've become a walker. I've maybe been walk. I've used walking at different points in my life as a healing tool, as a prayer, as a physical motivator. And it's so a part of my world that I literally at 11:20, I had been having this dual conversation where I was going to be here and I was planning my walk. And I finally at about 11:20 had to like have a serious conversation with my brain and be like, you can't go on a walk. You have to be on the VUU. And I was like, oh, I can't do these two things at the same time. And I can't, which is fine. But I'm like, okay, then when are you going to get your walk in? When am I going to get that time to do that repetitive motion, to put my foot down one after another, to each time I make a step, y'all, it is like a prayer. It is like I'm here, I'm present. This is my body. This is my mind. This is the air I'm taking in. These are the things that I can see. And it becomes this grounding ritual every step. And it is definitely some of the things that have saved me this past week. Don, you fell. I fell into what I would like to refer to as the depression pit. Woo! And I joke about it now, y'all, but depression is serious. I have it. I've had it since I was 5. This time it wasn't as bad as it could be. But, you know, I woke up this morning and I got up on my own without tears or crying, which I had been doing. And I came downstairs and I was like, this smell is dishes. Like, this is no longer healthy. And so I did my dishes, and then I was like, oh, when's the last time you showered? And I'm admitting this publicly, that my mind is just the chemical that says take care of your body. I wash up, I brush my teeth, but my mind does not say get in the shower. So today, the chemical that says you should take a shower kicked in, and I was like, I will shower today. I will do these dishes. I will forgive myself. And it's also that same repetitive motion. Wash this fork, rinse this fork. You are here. You can feel water. You can hear the birds outside. You will have clean food, clean things to eat off of. You won't be embarrassed to come in the kitchen. And I had a little revelation today, y'all, where I realized that the level of clean in my kitchen is also connected very deeply to my mental health. If my kitchen is getting bad, I'm getting bad. If my kitchen is okay, I couldn't shower till after I did my dishes. Something about it for my brain said, until I did that, it was like, oh, now I can go upstairs and shower. It's clean, I'm clean. It was weird. But it's hard because in that same time, I'm supposed to be helping other folks spiritually fill their cups. I'm supposed to be helping folks prepare and get ready for things like Trans Day of Visibility. I'm planning other events and facilitating things and have no capacity. Have literally am mad that I'm eating grapes. Why are you eating these? And you need to eat. Having these fights while let's light a chalice and start this meeting. So I say all of this to say, and to invite other folks into the conversation, to say how do we take care of ourselves in the ways that allow us to take care of other people? What are the things that are filling our cups? What are the things that are making us happy? I ate an orange the other day and I was like, why don't I eat one of these every day? I shouldn't have been so excited about an orange, but I'm still thinking about it 2 days later, So, yeah, I'll leave it there and open the floor and just say, how are you taking care of you?
So for me, I've suffered most of my life from anxiety. So and fear of just a fear of, and it could be anything that'll set me off. So I've been in therapy the last 30 years on and off, and how to manage it, and what triggers me, and how to talk myself kind of down from a panic attack, right? And one of the things that I've so blessed is is knowing how to self-resource. How do when am I resourced? When is my cup full, right? Reaching out to people I trust, and and because I'm an extrovert, I need to be connected with others. I need to let others know how I'm doing, what's happening. I'm an external processor. And if I'm not talking to people, it's not good. I'm in a really, really not good place. So I make an effort. I'm not a great journaler. I have 8 journals, and thank you, QuianaDenae. You sent me one that I have, and I'm and I write in them and I love them. And that's not it's not my go-to. And I do walk, and I try to walk without my phone so that I don't listen to anything. I need to be in my thoughts to work through whatever I think is going to cause me anxiety, or I've been less anxious since living alone, which is interesting, a lot less anxious living alone. And my adult children, I check in with them. They are young adults. So that's my mental health thing, is anxiety. I've battled my whole life. Sometimes it's been severe and debilitating, and panic attacks. And so learning how to self-resource and manage it. So that's what's helped me.
Yeah, I think I love that term self-resource, because I was thinking about that this morning, because somebody complimented me that I was on a Zoom call with them, and they were like, "Oh, you've lost a lot of weight." And yeah, and I was like, okay. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but yes, I have. But what it brought up was, why have I been eating better? Why have I been, more in control of my anxiety? Why have I been able to do the things, exercise, do the things that allow me to take care of myself. And so I was looking back over, the past year, and I was like, well, I successfully launched my children into the adult world, sending them to an Ivy League college with full scholarship, which means there's a huge financial burden that is no longer on my plate. I'm now employed, whereas, I was previously unemployed, and I'm employed at a job that I love. I have enough control over my immediate surroundings that I'm able to resource the things, that help me be healthier. And to me, it wasn't about losing weight. It was just about like having control over my life in a way that I didn't have before, because I didn't have the resources. Like I didn't have income that was coming in. I didn't have, didn't know what was going to happen with my kids going to college, and they were applying to school right when I was losing my job. And so, what was that going to look like, for their future? And so I think, I was trying to go back over like what has changed that has allowed me to make this change. And I think it's really important when we talk about self-care, that self-care isn't putting all of the onus on us to take care of ourselves, right? Self-care is the community making sure that everybody is taken care of. And everybody has the resources to take care of themselves. So I think that's also a really important part that sometimes gets lost in the self-care individualistic part of white supremacy culture, that you're not supposed to just be taking care of yourself. Like, your community is supposed to be taking care of you as well.
I want to say the community care piece is so important. When I first started doing pastoral care at UUAA, everybody was like, I want the minister to help me. I want the minister to help me. And I was like, there's one minister, but there's 1,000 of us. So what if the 1,000 of us took care of each other? And then in situations where it's the most appropriate, the minister steps up. And it was a shift, this idea that like, there's 1,000 of us to take care of each other. Like, we're going to get there way before Reverend Manish, and not because he doesn't care, not because he's loving, but because we have an obligation to take care of each other in this spider web of connection that involves Manish, but doesn't center Manish. Manish isn't the center. And I think when we look at, mutual aid, which we talked about last week, and community care, it shifts who's the center, right? It shifts who should be doing the work. It's like, what if everybody has a part in doing the work? What if it's bringing Don a hot plate? What if it's bringing Michael and his family a hot meal or a blanket, or offering to take the dog for a walk once a day because they can't leave the house? Like, what are some of those things that we can do that are just as important, that create that strength in the web of community connection that exists among us, that don't have an REV attached, right? Sometimes I think just we've centered the REV so much we forget about the COM, the community.
I'd also like to say that it is the very nature of being a religious professional that we don't have access to the kind of community that, the muggles do, for lack of a better word, right? Because it's inappropriate for the minister to be cared for, to be like ministered to by the congregation. And it's there's boundaries, and there's professional relationships and that kind of stuff that have to be maintained. And the nature of congregational work means that we are often geographically isolated from our support community. Most of my support in my professional ministry has been through people online. Because it's an hour to the nearest UU congregation. Anybody that I would look to for a social connection here that shares my same values is probably already a member of my church. You know, so that's a little extra challenge, I think.
Well, and it's an important and difficult boundary that we have to maintain as religious professionals, and it's also not a one size fits all in all situations boundary, right? So
Say more. Can you say more, Michael?
yeah, I will. So I have appreciated that my people, even though I'm on sabbatical from my bricks and mortar ministry, uh, the people who know that my family is has been sick, have offered to bring by food, and it's like it's not some violation of the sacrosanct minister congregation boundary to have people bring you food when you can't leave the house. It's more the who do we rely on for the emotional support and the spiritual support, and we can't rely on our people as when we're whatever sort of religious professional. It's not just a minister thing. We can't rely on our people to provide us emotional and spiritual support. And it is true that it's hard when the people who give you emotional and spiritual support are far away. But when emotional and spiritual support doesn't require dropping off food, and in these days it doesn't, allow for a hug, which it used to. Once upon a time, it was a hug. These days, it's not. Sometimes that can happen from afar. So just having, I'm in a Facebook group of ministers, UU ministers who are parents, and just being able to say to that Facebook group, here's what I'm dealing with. And they all understand because they all have been navigating the systems of, do their kids go to school in person? What are they exposing? What risk are they exposing themselves to? Like, they've all dealt with all that. And I know that they've all dealt with that. And they've also all dealt with being religious professionals. So they can just rage and console and pray and give me the emotional and spiritual support that I need just to, like, keep my spirits up. And if it got worse, then there would be other things that would need to kick into place. So that's why, we have to be careful about what the boundary is, right? No, you can't bring me a casserole because I'm your minister is fake. But no, you shouldn't you shouldn't be my primary emotional support is real. It is real, 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 real. And it's sometimes hard. So I'm happy to have like a text or a Facebook message from someone saying, "Can I bring you some food?" Or like, no, we're good. You should not be anywhere near me right now. It's all good.
Yeah.
And speaks to the reason why shared ministry and having a collaborative ministry is so important, right? So that we don't set up our folks, our ordained clergy people, in such an isolating position, because it can be super isolating. And so if we're engaging in a shared ministry model, we automatically have colleagues in which we can rely on for that kind of feedback and support. Sorry, Don, I think I cut you off. I think you were about to say something as well.
No, I was agreeing and essentially saying the same thing you were. I prefer if people want to bring me casseroles, if they could bring me ice cream, I'd be way happier with that. But I'll accept it, whatever shows up. Like medicinal ice cream is my favorite right now. Although it was hard, you need 2 hands for ice cream.
That's some learnings you've had. What did you learn this morning about bagels?
Man, it took me 15 minutes to cut my bagel. And last night I was like, I need, after this day, I want ice cream. And I was like, this is awesome. And the Talenti gelato jar requires, it's a twist off.
You need soft
So,
serve.
so I am more resourceful than that when it comes to ice cream. Trust me. I jammed that thing in a drawer and twisted off the top. It was fine. But yeah, the stuff that needs two hands is. But,
So bring Dawn ice cream, but unscrew it for them.
you know, Ben and Jerry's lifts off. Haagen-Dazs lifts off. It's the Talenti stuff that I was so excited about that is a screw top. I was like, damn.
I love that you thought about ice cream at this level. I don't really eat ice cream, and I don't know why. Like, there was a period in my life where I loved it, but I don't eat it anymore. Who knows why? But like, you thought about it, and when you said like, oh, like all of them lift off, I was like, ooh.
They all go on sale. They all go on sale at the same time for me in the stores where I shop. Yeah.
Look at you. Very sophisticated.
And you know, I don't drink anymore. I don't get high anymore. Like, it's it's my one indulgence.
I respect ice cream. I just don't eat it very often.
Mm.
Our stores do the like, when they go on sale, but it's the 2 for $5. So I'm like, I'm just helping out our budget.
Right? It's totally
here.
It's just selflessness on your part.
That's it.
You are to be commended, Chris. Absolutely.
Thank you. You know, when the Oreos and the milk are on sale together, just saying.
That's just divine intervention right there.
Right?
Yeah, and it is impolite to reject God's miracles.
I think when the divine is calling your Oreo name, you need to answer.
That's right.
You guys are making me laugh, and I need laughter, so thank you. I don't have any questions in me. I just want to laugh. So somebody say something funny.
But that's super important, right? That we can actually make each other laugh and have it be genuine and lift each other's spirits. This is community care. Y'all out there, you are watching community care at work, making each other laugh about ice cream and Oreos and Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout. So here's the Girl Scout cookie. One of our learning fellows, who will go without name because I don't have permission to share their name on this story. One of our opening check-ins was tell us the name of your favorite Girl Scout cookie. And so this person shared the name of their favorite Girl Scout cookie and that they had managed to avoid getting Girl Scout cookies because of COVID. So that they felt really, like they had managed not to get the Girl Scout cookies this year, and it was a mixed blessing. So I immediately sent them 5 boxes of Girl Scout cookies because I was looking for a way to support QuianaDenae's Girl Scout. True. So I was like, because I don't usually buy Girl Scout, and I'm like, oh, that's divine intervention. I wanted to send some Girl Scout cookies to somebody. Here was somebody saying that they hadn't been able to get the Girl Scout cookies, and you can't help it. And so they got their Girl Scout cookies and then quickly told me, listen, it wasn't a bad thing that I didn't have the Girl Scout cookies, but now that they're here,
it was a bad thing. It was a bad thing.
They were okay with it. They were literally on a meeting eating the Girl Scout cookies, and I'm like, hey, so and so, where'd you get those cookies? And they're like,
well, I will say I ordered my Girl Scout cookies from QuianaDenae's child as well, and they arrived FedEx. I have never felt like a Girl Scout cookie VIP before. But the Michigan Girl Scouts, they know how to treat you. They sent me my cookies, Federal Express.
I got 4 too. So yeah, and I got them as a gift for me. So I, was thinking about how I was missing Girl Scout cookies, and when QuianaDenae very generously. And then the thing is, if you something about ordering 4, I'm like, well, I have to get 4 at least, because was it shipping, like a flat shipping, no matter, anyway. there was a reason why I got 4 boxes, and I thought I was being altruistic. So very delicious Girl Scout cookies.
If you are in need of a Girl Scout cookie link, I don't know how to be shameless or less shameless or what this is. She's got 31 boxes to get to her goal, of 200 boxes. It's not a crazy amount. I've seen other folks sell. I know some Girl Scouts who are, that cookie mafia is no joke. Actually, you know what? I used to have this woman and when I worked at Youth Link in Minneapolis, this woman with her daughter, she would just pass a little sheet around and none of us would pay attention, but she would not bring the cookies to delivery until payday. And she would literally sit at the front door and be like, I know you got paid today. I got your cookies when you're ready. And you would just be like, oh, okay. Like, she totally would hold your cookies ransom because she knew you got paid that day. And I thought that was genius. Everything I know about cookie sales, y'all, I learned from drug dealers. Drug dealers are some pretty smart people. It's supply, demand, pick up, drop off, delivery. Don't underestimate the business skills it takes to sell an illegal product. It's easy when things are legal. You have, you get your little thing and you put it on a wall and you legally can sell this. Look, to illegally sell a product for a very long time, you got skills. I just want to give my big ups to my drug dealers. I'm not trying to even be funny, y'all. But everything I know about Girl Scout cookies, I learned from my drug dealer friends, and I respect and appreciate the hustle every day.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Amen.
Oh,
and so I'll just a shout out for QuianaDenae's Girl Scout 31 boxes. The viewers of the VUU can take care of that. And if you need like an idea of where to send Girl Scout cookies, I sent it to a nurse's station at the hospital. I sent a package to the hospice team at our local hospital because they're doing a lot of work. You can send it to the vaccination clinic of your choice. 31 boxes, they've got a 5-box gift pack that is so easy to buy and send. Just make it happen, folks. It's really easy. And since we're in that mode of saying the things that you can do to help, I would be remiss, and Tanner would be like, hey, Chris, if I didn't mention that we have a Faithify campaign going on right now. I think we have 3 days left in our Faithify campaign, and we are only 50% there. It's a $5,000 goal, which is pretty reasonable. It's specifically to help the VUU to make sure that we can have, guests and programming, and, we have tech help, and we'd like to be able to get this back into the podcast arena and do all the things that we need to do. So if you are a watcher or a user of any of the VUU materials, or even if you're not, and you just want to bless the people that are on this screen or in these voices, please head over to Faithify and look for the VUU and make a donation of any amount. And if you could share it on social media, that would be so helpful. Even if you've already made a donation, maybe just share it on social media and say, hey, this is the reason why I made a donation to the VUU's Faithify campaign. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, and you said we've got 50% so far?
Yeah, I think we're at 2,500.
Okay, so 2,500. This is my old fundraiser self going here. 2,500 means we need 25 people who can donate $100, or we can need 50 people who can donate $50. And I know we have more viewers and more regular watchers and podcasters and all that other stuff who check in. And could totally make that happen. That's nothing for a goal. That's nothing for a goal. I mean, somebody falls down a well or somebody gets hurt online. Well, no, that's a bad thing. Some tragedy happens, right? Some kid gets hurt somewhere, or somebody gets discriminated against, and we look for a way to show our love and support, and so we send cash, because that's a tangible, useful thing. And so Yeah, in Colorado, yeah. And so this is a way for you to show your love and support for the Church of the Larger Fellowship and the way it does its work. You know, I mean, bills got to get paid, right? Internet ain't free, right? And this is a way for people to show how much they love and support this program. And Quiana, you want to talk about that? You want to talk about Colorado, dear? Or do you want somebody else?
I mean, I'm fine either way. I just wanted to acknowledge that another mass shooting happened in America. This is the second time, second week in a row, and I just want to acknowledge those impacted by that act of violence. In the same way that my heart is heavy for those who are in Atlanta, for my AAPI siblings and my sibling sex workers, I also want to just acknowledge those in Colorado. We should be able to go to the grocery store and buy groceries. We should be able to have jobs and be at work and be safe. And so I just want to acknowledge the openness that kind of violence and harm leaves on us individually and collectively. And for us to not do that in this space where we're talking about community care and collective health would be disingenuous to who I am as a person, but I think disingenuous to who we are as a collective of VUU hosts.
And the idea that we're coming out of there was a comment maybe 3 or 4 months, at least when I noticed it, into the pandemic, into the shutdown, that someone made the comment that at least there aren't any school shootings. So now we're coming out of this slowly pandemic, and then that we're so broken. There's something in the psyche of this country that is so broken and sick that we're starting to be out again, and the shootings start again because we're not courageous enough to have gun control, because somehow this is something we're supposed to live with. And when I say, like, the imagination of those who cause harm seems limitless, our imagination for those of us who want to heal community and be there for each other needs to be even more. We need to do what Australia did. They bought back guns, they melted them. This idea that we are hanging on to things to machines that kill, that is the one and only reason guns exist, to kill. And instead of talking about self-defense, let's talk about caring for each other. And the fact that this now, we're going to get back to what? Being numb now. Every week we're going to hear about a shooting. That was, when I heard about the Colorado shooting, I'm just like, are you, what? How do we repair the soul in this country? And the idea that we have to go to annihilation because a man had a bad day or another man felt bullied, or so my heart hurts. And I will quote Toni Morrison, who says, "I refuse not to be shocked. It is shocking. It is always shocking. It is soul hurting. And we always need to be shocked, and we need to expand our imaginations and stop being bullied by the NRA who support making things that kill indiscriminately." It's beyond, I don't even know what to say. It's soul crushing.
And I think we should refuse not to be shocked by the continued inaction of Congress as well. It's shocking. It's despicable. The fact that there are common sense gun control methods that have the approval of 90% of Americans, but Congress won't act because one of the political parties is bought and paid for by the NRA is despicable, and the other political party doesn't have the guts to stand up to that. I mean, let's just be clear. This is not even a partisan issue anymore. Neither party has the courage or the moral clarity. Nobody has moral high ground when they're not doing anything. It's despicable and it's shocking, and we should refuse to not be shocked. We should feel that shock too. This is not just, oh yeah, that's Congress, la la la. That's the way they work. We can't give up on the fact that it's shockingly despicable.
And we should, I grew up around guns. I grew up rural, and and we need to be clear that the NRA is not, the NRA's primary constituency is weapons makers, is manufacturers, not gun owners necessarily, because gun owners are absolutely in favor of background checks, right? But manufactured weapon manufacturers are what drives the NRA and provides them with their money, which then, buys senators. So.
With 4 minutes left, 3 minutes or 4 minutes left. What I want to do, we're riding the wave of energy. And I just want to not take us away from the importance of Colorado, but just acknowledge the full span of who we are. We are people who have experienced our own stuff this week. We are people who are still in love with our communities and trying to help them navigate all of that is in front of us. We are people who care about gun violence. We are people who care about community care. And we are people who need to laugh and walk and do art and be our full whole selves. And so if this show feels weird today, it's because we're weird. And we are also in the same energy that all of us exist in. We're not above it or beyond it or outside of it. This is, we're all in a weird transitional place. And this show is indicative of that we are all in the flow of the river. We are all riding the waves. So I hope that you have a great week. I hope that you have a week where you get to nourish yourself and take care of yourself. And you have a week where maybe you can extend that to taking care of other folks, whether that be buying Girl Scout cookies, I'm shameless, whether that be giving to our Faith at Five program, to just $2,500. Hello, friends, we can do this. Or if it's just holding your hand up right now to the screen and just having a moment where you get to hold other folks. I hope that you have a week and you have a day where your heart is full and all your needs are met. I wish that for everyone who can hear my voice.
Amen. And so as we end today, QuianaDenae, I also want to acknowledge that next week is virtual Finding Our Way Home. Our religious professionals of color will be gathering in community to support one another and to do this community care. And one day it'll happen in person again, but y'all will be online together with each other next week, right? So we will miss Chris and QuianaDenae and Aisha next week, but Dawn and I will be celebrating the Transgender Day of Visibility and the
They're
wonderful
leaving us we're going to be unsupervised.
Yeah,
Michael?
It's you and me, Dawn. We get to celebrate transgender Unitarian Universalism together, which is fun. And we don't know who's going to be joining us yet, but we're going to get some fun people.
Right. Oh, we'll get fun people. But yeah. So that you all can relax and enjoy your time together. You totally need that.
Be well, everyone, and have a
Bye,
wonderful time
everyone.
together.